Namaste, hello, and welcome back to another video on Hamsavahini Vajrastra. I'm Ohana, and today's video is going to be about my wrap-up for Galaxyathon 2024, which was created and hosted by Macy from The Bright Side Girl. I'll leave a link to her videos in the description box below, as well as in the overhead card above. And there were 5 challenges which Macy had provided us to structure our TBRs around, and there were also Instagram challenges every day of the week, which I had lots of fun participating in them. You'll find all these links in the description box below, should you be interested in checking them out. And there would be Goodreads review links to all the books which I did manage to complete during the readathon in the description box below. So in case if you would like to know more about my opinions on the book, you definitely can check the Goodreads review link. So with that, let's start with the books that I have for you, which I did manage to complete during this readathon. Now, the first book which I completed for this readathon was Stars and Bones by Gareth Powell. This was a 4-star read for me, and I absolutely loved the writing. And this ticked off 3 challenges, which was Stars in the title, Planet on the cover, and Set in the future. So this is about the human being as a species trying to survive and make their way out to between 2 alien species, one which is acting as its protector and the other which is acting as its exterminator. And it follows the human beings as a species wherein Earth is getting devastated by, or Earth is being destroyed by, a nuclear missile which has been launched due to political unrest. And there's an alien species which had been observing the human beings and planet and human life on the planet, and decide that there's a lot that human beings can do to progress within the evolution cycle, and therefore they decide to save the human beings, and they place them on starship arcs. So every starship arc has a different thought and a different set of individuals who have the same thought pattern, and that is how they are categorized. There is a continuous search for habitable planets via scout ships, and scout ships are specially designed to be dream linked with the human beings. So the pilot has to be strong psychically to be dream linked. And this story is about one such pilot who also has a sister who is a scientist, and she has gone to one of the planets which they are currently researching on, and she somehow gets attacked by an alien. Now this alien, which is the exterminated alien species, invades the human body, which becomes its host, and then it tries to restructure and reprogram the body cells within that human being, and tries to make its own so that it can understand and expand its consciousness through another living being. So they in the process, the entire cell structure of the human being is destroyed. The human being itself dies, and the body is taken over by this alien creature, and everything is an extension of this alien creature, which is trying to navigate its way to the starship, and trying to curb upon the starship, and trying to gain control of it. So the story goes on further. It's an amazing world which has been built, and I absolutely loved the way the story has been crafted. Now this is a part of a duology, and this was just the first part. I'm very eager to read the second part, but it has to be on hold. I have to read it later on. So those were my opinions. I've also left my opinions on the Goodreads review, and I've also talked more about this in one of my other videos, whose link I'll post in the description box below, and leave it in the cards above. Now, the next book which I read was Mage Queen's Thief, and this was a 3-star read for me. It did tick off a number of challenges, which was space novella, set in the future, and space royalty. And this follows the future of human beings who are now settled in Mars, and they are ruled by a very young queen called the Mage Queen, who is absolutely brilliant, and she's fiery, and she's very sophisticated and knowledgeable, but she does not have an heir. So she has to find a suitor who can whom she can marry and produce an heir for her legacy to continue and for her to retain the throne. So there are lots of conspiracies which are also going around in the background, for which or because of which she has to put this into action immediately. So there is a gala party which is hosted, and there is a star cruise or a royal star cruise which has all these suitors invited from significant positions, and they all come over, and they try to speak and make a conversation with the young queen, and suddenly the young queen finds herself strapped to a shuttle, wherein she has no clue how she got there, and she thinks that she has been kidnapped, and there's this one other person who's there in the shuttle, and that person is a mage who was supposed to be a suitor, or whom she assumed was a suitor, but then he actually turns out to be a shuttle thief. Now this shuttle thief has no idea what the mage queen is doing over here. They both find themselves in very awkward conditions, wherein the thief is trying to explain himself that he is actually trying to steal the shuttle from the queen, and the queen is trying to understand why she has been kidnapped from her own party, and she's strapped to this shuttle, and she's flown away, and there must be some conspiracy which is going on. So as the shuttle proceeds, they find that they are in front of their enemy, and at the back is the starship, wherein where there's a huge conspiracy which is going on, and they have to trust each other so as to ensure that they can find an escape, and they have to come to each other's rescue and try to navigate their way out, so that they can each go through their own way, but then ultimately they end up being having feelings for each other and bearing sentiments for each other during the entire process. So the plot was a little short for me, but the technical details was amazing. And as I mentioned, it was a 3-star read for me, and I posted my Goodreads review, which you can definitely cross-check if you would like to know more. I've also spoken a little more about this in one of my other videos. I'll leave a link to it in the description box below. Now, the other book which I did read, it was not exactly a book, but it was a manga, which is Captain Harlock, Space Pirate, and this is a whole series. There are 10 parts to it, and I managed to finish only one. I was supposed to finish the entire 10, but then it was absolutely amazing, because this was about a rebel space pirate who's trying to save Earth and what remains of the Earth, and it has it is set in a dystopian post-apocalyptic Earth. No, it's not exactly post-apocalyptic, but it's a dystopian world wherein the leaders and the governments are just involved with themselves. They don't care about what happens, and there's only what happens to Earth and its citizens, and there's only one commander who is trying to ensure that Earth has its standing. There is also a warning which has been received by Earth from the aliens, wherein they will face an alien attack very soon. There is an entire species which is ruled by an empress who's trying to take over Earth, and it is only Captain Harlock with his band of misfits who is trying to not only save Earth, but is also trying to fight off this invading alien queen, who is trying to subjugate all the planets, all the habitable planets, and their species which are involved in it. So it's a very interesting series, and although I just finished one, but I did enjoy this. And there's something which I've never done before in a readathon is complete an entire trilogy, and that too physical copies of this trilogy. So here it is, Bonds of Brass by Emily Skrutsky, and I managed to finish the trilogy during this readathon, which was an amazing feat for me, and I absolutely loved all the three, and the plot lines were amazing, the world building was amazing, and all of them were 4-star reads for me. So this entire trilogy follows two space empires, the Umber Empire and the Arkan Empire. The Umber Empire is aggressive, and it ends up defeating the Arkan Empire, and what happens is the aftermath around which this trilogy is based. So we do have our two main characters and two main protagonists. Etienne from the Arkan Empire. He is actually a war orphan now, and he has somehow managed to scramble through his life because he lost his parents at the age of 10. Then he was tossed and turned over from foster home to foster home, and then he finally managed to scrap into the Umber Military Academy, wherein he trains as a pilot, and he becomes one of the best pilots during the training. And he shares his room with a very charming and an irresistible boy of his age who is also a cadet, and he is called Gal, and somehow both of them become best friends. Later it is revealed during the first part, which is Monza Brass, that Gal happens to be the heir of the Umber Empire, and he's supposed to take over the empire after he finishes his training in the military academy. And this is something which sparks off a complete resistance amongst the war orphans, which Etienne is of course not aware of, but then he's later made aware, and then they ask him to join the resistance, but Etienne has other views because he is quite fond of Gal, and somehow there is a romance which is brewing underneath both of them, their relationship, but then it's actually unacknowledged. So somehow Etienne manages to escape with Gal when there is an attempt of assassination on Gal, who is being harassed not only by the resistance which is growing of the Arkan Empire rebels, who are still not content with the fact that they have been defeated by the Umber Empire, and also there is Gal's uncle who's trying his very best to ensure that Gal does not succeed to the throne. And Etienne tries to save Gal, and they somehow escape the planet, and then they go over to another planet, they seek refuge in another planet called the Corinthian, and there they find that they are actually in the border where there are border rebels, I believe, and the story goes on from there. So that's the first part. The second and the third part also proceed with how the resistance of Arkan actually grows, and it takes over the Umber Empire, and Gal has to succeed to the throne, but then he's captured by the Arkan army, which has grown secretively into a very strong resistance, and they are prepared to attack the Empress of the Umber Empire, and the entire story follows from there. So is it the love between Gal and Etienne which survives, or is it the Space Empire which will be their choice? So this is what this entire story is about. Of course, there are lots of twists and turns of it, and I'm really not going to indulge or divulge, let's say, into what Etienne's role is in this entire trilogy, but it was absolutely amazing. The world building was amazing, as I had mentioned before, and I've written more about this in my Goodreads review links, which you can definitely check if you would like to know more. And also this ticked off a lot of challenges for me. So there was space royalty. In one of them there was planets on the cover, which I believe it was this one, which had planets on the cover. This one had rings of a planet on the cover, and this had space royalty, of course, and it was all based on space royalty. So lots of fun reading that, and I was absolutely happy with this achievement which I made during this readathon. So those are the few books which I managed to complete, and I absolutely loved Galaxy-a-thon this time, and I enjoyed all the Instagram challenges. And there are a few other books which I did read, but I've not completed them. For example, The Blighted Stars by Megan O'Keefe. Had I completed this, then this would have been a 4.5-star read for me, and it's part of a duology, so I'm quite keen on completing that and proceeding on to the next part of it, which I believe is The Fractured Dark. And with that, I will be wrapping up this video. Thank you, Macy, for hosting such an amazing readathon. I hope we'll have more fun in the upcoming readathon, which I believe has already started. So I will be back next week with my wrap-up for Middle Grade March. So stay tuned for that, and I hope you have a lovely reading week ahead. And with that, I'll take my leave, and namaste.